Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be talking about seeds and saving seeds from your garden. I am nowhere near qualified to be talking about this, but I am going to take you on my journey of saving seeds from my garden. I have never saved seeds before, ever, so this is a first for me. This is going to be the first time I am taking seeds from the garden. It's the first time that I'm going to be saving them. It's the first time that I'm going to experiment with planting and conditions and seedlings and starts, and everything about this is new to me. But I have decided, so in our backyard, as you know, is a bike path. About 100 yards down that bike path is our local farmer's market. They have it every Wednesday and it probably runs for about 15 weeks. I decided, since we have so much space, we have so many things that are blooming, I am going to try my hand at market bouquets. I have not seen flowers down there this year yet. I don't know what next year would bring, but I think it would be really fun to experiment not only with growing flowers, but marketing them as well. So I am somebody who likes to be in the background. I am not a salesperson. I am like the creative piece, and I love making arrangements and doing all the background things. Sales is not my forte. I love people. I love the interaction of people. My working past involves working with a lot of people. I love working with people, but when it comes to sales, that is not my thing. So it will be outside of my comfortability wheelhouse for sure, but I think it would be really fun, and who doesn't love fresh flowers every week? I have made a video before about testing the vase life on some of the flowers that are out in the garden, and I'm looking at them right now. We are 7 days in and most of them look phenomenal. So I think the varieties that I have in the garden currently will work for market bouquets. I'll just have to supplement with some purchased seeds as well, annuals, and then just things that I think are pretty that will fill a bouquet, but that I don't have on hand. I'm really hoping this works, because if it doesn't, I'm not gonna have any flowers and it might be a flop. I am going to probably till most of the flowers that are in there. I know it's very sad and very hard for me to say, but whatever I can salvage, I will transplant. But things like lupine that have long tap roots and do not like to be moved, I don't really have any other option except to either leave the garden as a crazy mess or start lupine again from seed. With seed saving, it's really important to understand that sometimes you get a color in the garden that you're not gonna get from the seed. So something like lupine doesn't guarantee it's the same color as the plant you just saw if you do it from seed. The only way to make sure you get that same color is to propagate it. And there are several varieties of things like that in the garden. For me, that doesn't matter. They were the deep purpley color. I like that. I think that's a really inviting spring color. It's one of the first colors of the spring, those yellows and the purples. So I'm okay with kind of having a mystery box. And if we get other colors, so be it. My goal really is to just get these flowers to grow well, and to be very beautiful in a market bouquet. So that's my goal. The way I've set this up is I've kind of divided the flowers that I think would create a good market bouquet into things that come in the spring, things that come in the summer, and then late summer and fall, so that I can have enough flowers throughout the whole entire growing season. I don't know how many plants I'm gonna need in order to sustain, 10 market bouquets a week for 4 weeks or whatever, but I am going to just plant out what I have and use what I have. And there's other things that I can supplement that will be coming up next year, but I prefer to try to get a good estimate of how many plants I will need. But if I don't, and if I'm short, or if I have to miss a market 1 week, that's okay. The first thing that I'm going to show you is the lupine. So the first blooms came probably around May, and I deadheaded those, and I did get a smaller second crop. So I've just been letting some of the second crop go to seed, And this is what that lupin seed looks like. It's fuzzy, it's hairy, it's in the sweet pea family, so that's why it looks like a pea pod. All I do, at first I was pressing it this way on the seam, but then I realized if you press it down like this and give it a good press, it pops right open and it doesn't crumble. The shell doesn't crumble. So that's what the lupin seeds looks like. There's 4 to 5, actually this one has 7. I would say maybe 5 to 7 seeds in each pod. So I've just been saving them and sticking them in this Ziploc bag. These are one of the seeds that need to go through a cold period in order to fulfill their full cycle. So I've heard the best way is to kind of scratch the surface, because these are relatively hard seeds to crack because they do go through that really cold period. So just scratch the surface, and then I've seen people putting them in a damp paper towel in the refrigerator for 10 days until they sprout. I think that's the route I am going to use, but like I said, this is all going to be experimental, and if it doesn't work, then I will have to try another way next year. But if I do that in the spring, they should come up and be able to be transplanted into the garden. Again, they have that long taproot. They don't like a whole lot of fuss and muss. So as soon as they get some good roots on them, I'll have to put them out in the garden. Next thing that I'm saving are these Rattleseed poppies. So these I'm growing for my air category. I took a mini course this summer with Florette. It was free, and it just came to my email, just a few videos, and she says the best market bouquet has 5 elements. It has filler, air, focal, disc, and a spike. I added friller. That is like my new term. A filler to me is like a solid color, like a raspberry green or mint or something like that. But then the friller for me is something that is mostly green, but either has like small flowers on it or something like textural that's not just straight green. Like the one here, I have like oregano and status. To me, those don't necessarily scream filler because they're not all green, but they are not the focus of the bouquet and they're giving it bulk. So that's my category, friller, and it just makes it more organized in my head. So this is going to be the air piece. Something that's interesting, something that is different, something that's unexpected in the bouquet that makes you say, oh, that's cool. Let me see what else is in there. So this is what the pod looks like. Okay, and then as it dries, the head separates a little bit and you get like this salt and pepper shaker type situation. So there, you can see it separates a little bit. And then I'll show you what it looks like. So just like a salt and pepper shaker, you tip this over and each head has hundreds of seeds. And so I am not going to grow these for their flowers. I am just going to grow them for the seed pods, which do come on about midsummer. So these seeds are absolutely tiny. They're literally the size of this graphing paper dot, but there's hundreds in each head. And so they're a really good seed to save if I can get them to germinate. So one thing that I did with the poppies that you don't want to do is store them to dry upside down. Because once they open, they will fall all over the counter and then you won't have any seeds. So dry those upright or just put them in a vase and let them dry out until you see that separation. Then you can just shake them out. I'm also going to save some of this coneflower. Now, there is a lot of that. Coneflower or echinacea, there's a lot of purple in the garden. And so I am going to try to transplant those into a nice row, but I'm also going to start these just in case the transplant doesn't work or they don't take or it disturbs the roots too much and kills them off. I'll have these as backup and I'll just put these in the garden if that does not work. I'm also saving this. I am not sure if, I think it's butterfly bush, and I'm not sure if it is something that is grown from seed. I will have to do more research, but it is starting to dry in the garden. So I'm bringing it in and saving a couple sprigs of seeds. And I'm taking all of these seeds, I'm taking from different locations in the garden just in case one set is diseased or something and doesn't come up. I'll have backup. I've also got some marigolds. So when you're going through and deadheading your marigolds, you'll notice that if you take off this blossom, there's a ton of seeds. I'll take these all out, I'll let them dry. And again, coloring is not too important to me right now. I just wanna make sure that I can propagate these and get a good harvest, get some good stem length, get some good root structures. Now, marigolds, these are annuals, so these will not come back every year. So every year I will have to save the seeds if I'm successful, if I like the variety. And if it works for us. But all of these other things, once they're established, I am hoping that they will come back year after year, as long as we manage them and take care of them well. Most of these are perennials. Like I said, they're from the garden. They have already been here for years and years. So in theory, most of these plants should be good to go, but we will see. Another one I'm doing is Liatris. Liatris is a unique spike in the fact that it flowers from the top down, whereas Lupine and other things, foxgloves, they'll flower from the bottom up. So actually these are the blossoms that are already spent. I don't know if these have to dry in the garden before I pick them. I'm gonna experiment again with these and dry them inside. And then from what I found on the internet, and everything on the internet is true, just kidding, but what I found on the internet, that Liatris are fairly easy to start from seed, so I'm hoping that's the case. Oh, I'll have to see. I'll have to see what this does over the next couple weeks as it dries. And I'll leave some in the garden as well. And I'm gonna save those seeds and start those in the spring too. The last thing that I found is Emperium. So I haven't found a whole lot of it, but what I did find does have tons and tons of seeds on it. So I've already saved a whole bunch of seeds. This is just from one stem. And so I'm hoping I can start those in the spring. And then again, I'm hoping those are perennials and that they'll come back year after year. But again, I'll save the seeds. If the seeds are successful, then I'll save the seeds and plant those as backups until I've got a couple seasons under my belt and I'm sure that they come back up. So that's it for seed saving. Like I said, I am totally new to this. I am letting things dry in the garden. I'm bringing some things in and letting them dry here. I'm experimenting with just the seed saving process itself. I'm just storing them in Ziploc bags, nothing fancy. I'll probably keep them kind of in a drier place that's dark, just so that they don't spontaneously germinate. I don't even know if that's a thing, but it sounds fancy, so I'll say it. I am really excited to see how this works, and if it doesn't work, you know, then there's always the option of purchasing flowers online or purchasing seeds online for the next growing season. Like I said, I'm just doing this for fun as some extra income. I love gardening. I've learned a lot about this garden and this property this year, as I was a very bad plant mother, but I really didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what plants were coming. I didn't know a lot of things. Anyways, that's my seed saving process. Just taking stuff from the garden, drying it, and then taking the seeds and putting them in a bag. And I will put them under grow lights down in the basement. I'm gonna try to create like a humidity controlled little section of our basement. I don't know if that's possible or if it will work, but that will be my growing station for 2023. Thank you so much for watching. That's the end of my seed saving video. Remember that some plants do best from cuttings, others from bulbs, and others from rhizome systems that you have to separate. Not all plants are best propagated with seeds. So know your plants, do your research. The internet is a big wide space. Obviously approach all the internet stuff with precaution, but there's a lot of good info out there. That's what I'm doing, that's what I'm using, and then I'm just gonna use the test of time to gain more knowledge as we go through this process. Thank you so much for watching this video. Maybe you've learned something. We will see you on the next video.